Greetings from Tokyo. This is Daisuke Beppu. I'd like to take this opportunity to just provide you with a brief update and announcement with respect to my YouTube channel. It is nothing very serious or drastic in terms of a major announcement, but it's just something regarding the content of videos that I'm planning to do. As some of you may know, I have been making a number of videos called 5 by Criterion. Now, this set of videos was something that I was very into. Essentially what they are is just my gathering 5 titles from the Criterion collection and just talking about them. There was no cohesiveness in terms of why I grouped 5 titles together. There was just a serious sense of randomness with respect to how I grouped them together, and I just wanted the opportunity to continue to talk about Criterion collection titles, because I had up to then only been talking about Criterions in the context of top 10 Criterions or more top 10 Criterions, and so I didn't think it was sustainable to keep saying here is another top 10 or here's another top 10. So instead I just wanted to talk about a number of Criterion titles that I really liked, and I just wanted to share my thoughts about those with you. And so I just came up with this idea of presenting them just 5 titles, and I just called it 5 by Criterion. And it was really great, but it was really great for me because I just was able to talk more about some films that I really liked. Some of the films I think are probably a little bit relatively obscure, or not usually spoken about as much as other titles are. So I thought it was a really nice thing for me to try to engage in, because it also helped me to try to develop my thoughts and comments further on these films. So that was a real nice series. But I realized I've realized for a while now that it's a little bit difficult to keep doing the 5 by Criterions as I am now. And the reason is because I've always wanted to at least try to go through the entire Criterion collection catalog. Now, I know that there are a number of people who are doing this already. There are a number of YouTubers that are doing this already, and there are a number of bloggers that are doing this. There are a number of podcasters that are doing this, and I think their work is quite admirable and oftentimes very, very informative. So seeing all this work being done, I just thought, man, gosh, I just would love to at least just give it a try. If I fail and I fall flat on my face, so be it. But let me just give it a try, I thought. So here's what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to just give it a try, and I'll just start to talk about the Criterion collection releases one at a time, starting with spine number 1 and then moving forward. And it'll be essentially like the format I have been doing with 5 by Criterion, except instead of putting them all in one video, I'll just be making them separate videos and then just doing them in spine order. So I think that's probably a good thing, but the problem is, of course, that there are so many films in the Criterion collection, and starting from spine number 1, going through, let's say, spine number 950. And so therefore, it's quite a long way away to reach, let's say, the more recent titles. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to focus my 5 by Criterion videos on the later releases, maybe the spine numbers, maybe from 300 on or 400 on, or the more recent releases. I'll try to do that going forward. And so that means I will still be able to talk about the more recent releases while still trying to approach the Criterion Collection one spine number title at a time. So if you don't mind, I'd like to try to do that going forward. I hope you don't mind. And please forgive me, really, please forgive me if I end up failing spectacularly and just making a complete fool of myself if I try to do this. I know it's a bit of a fool's errand, so to speak, because there are just too many films, and there's just a huge variety of films in the Criterion Collection, and I don't fully understand or appreciate all of them. So perhaps my take on those films might not be as fully developed as others. And I will try to acknowledge that as best as I can as I move forward. But this is something that I've always wanted to do, and so with your understanding, I'd like to try to do that going forward while still maintaining the 5 by Criterion series, just focusing that series on later releases. And then, you know, I'm trying again. Maybe I'm being too ambitious, but I do want to do that same style for the Laserdisc releases and also for the Masters of Cinema releases as well. You know, I've promised a whole bunch of viewers out there, including Paul, Monsieur Paul Beauparlant. I hope you're still out there, and I haven't forgotten Rogopog, and I haven't forgotten the Eureka Masters of Cinema. So I'm still trying to figure out a way to do the Masters of Cinema films. You know, should I do them all in a top 10 video format, or should I do them in like a spine order, one at a time video format? You know, I know, for instance, Luke at Razor Wire Reviews, he's one of my heroes, and he has videos on the Masters of Cinema releases that he has. But I don't want to necessarily trample on his turf, so to speak. So I want to be as respectful to him as well. So on the one hand, I want to discuss the Masters of Cinema, but I'm trying to do it in a way that will be respectful of him, and also be in a way that is true to my own style and way of making these videos. So I'm just trying to think of a nice way to do that. So maybe I'll do a 5 by Masters of Cinema or something to that effect going forward. But just please just give me a little bit more time to try to think of that way in which I can tackle the Masters of Cinema releases more effectively. Because I do have so much to talk about with respect to the Masters of Cinema. They're a great friend of mine and a real loyal viewer and wonderful commentator whose name is Tim. Tim asked me very recently about silent films because he had made the astute comment and observation that I never speak about silent films. But in fact, I love silent cinema. And while I'm not in any shape or form a true expert in silent cinema, I really do love it. And I think one of the great strengths of the Masters of Cinema lineup is its silent film. And the silent film releases that they do, and their treatment of the silent films, is really quite spectacular. And I think that's one of the strengths of the Masters of Cinema lineup, as opposed to the Criterion Collection lineup. Criterion Collection has some great silent films, don't get me wrong, but somehow the Eureka Masters of Cinema lineup, for me anyway, just there is just so much wealth of silent cinema treasure there, is it not? I'm sure, for example, Luke at Razor Wire Reviews will attest to that. So I I am so eager to address Masters of Cinema, if for anything, to address the silent films that are included in that lineup. So one of these days I will do that. But please, again, I just ask for your patience in me just trying to just find the best way for me to do that. And maybe I'll ask Luke for his advice, because he is a real master at YouTube videos, and he is one of the great. He is one of the great ones, and he is a true gentleman, and such a great film expert and scholar, and so down to earth and real knowledgeable. And he just knows how to present what he likes so very well. And you know that one of the many things that he likes is the Eureka Masters of Cinema lineup. So maybe I'll talk to him and see what I can come up with after getting some of his advice. So, but yes, Eureka Masters of Cinema is something that I have not forgotten at all. So please, I ask for your patience a little bit more as I try to tackle that. Okay, so that's it for me, and I hope this message finds you well. I hope I didn't disturb you too much, and if I did, I apologize. Please don't hold it against me too much. And with that, I hope all of you are well, and please have a great rest of the day. Be happy and healthy, and please watch a lot of great cinema. If you have any recommendations at any time, please let me know. All right, cheers.